Muhammad Ali had never backed down from anyone, so when Bruce Lee walked into his Hollywood gym in 1973, Ali did what he always did. He issued a challenge. "Show me your fastest punch. Hit me right here." Ali pointed to his chest with that trademark confidence. 3 seconds later, Ali was on his knees gasping for air, and everyone in that gym knew they had just witnessed something impossible. This isn't just another celebrity encounter story. This is about the moment when two fighting philosophies collided, and the greatest boxer in the world discovered there were dimensions to combat he never knew existed. It was July 1973, and Muhammad Ali was in Los Angeles working on a film project. He'd been training at a private gym in Hollywood that was popular with actors and stunt performers. Ali had heard the name Bruce Lee before. Everyone in Hollywood had. Lee was making waves with Enter the Dragon, which was about to be released and change martial arts cinema forever. But Ali was skeptical. He'd heard about martial arts, about kung fu, about these supposed masters who could do incredible things. But Ali had never seen anything that impressed him more than boxing. He was Muhammad Ali, the heavyweight champion of the world, the man who had defeated Sonny Liston, George Foreman, and Joe Frazier. What could some movie star martial artist show him that he hadn't already mastered? That afternoon, someone mentioned that Bruce Lee sometimes trained at this gym. Ali's interest was immediately piqued, not because he was intimidated, but because he loved a good challenge. As if on cue, Bruce Lee walked into the gym about an hour later. He was small, maybe 5'7", and 140 pounds, dressed in simple black training clothes. When he entered, several people stopped what they were doing. Bruce Lee had that effect on people. There was an intensity about him, a presence that filled the room despite his compact size. Ali was in the ring doing light sparring when Lee arrived. Someone pointed out who had just walked in. Ali stopped mid-combination, a huge grin spreading across his face. "That's Bruce Lee," Ali called out, loud enough for everyone to hear. "The Kung Fu movie guy." Lee looked over, recognizing Ali immediately. He nodded respectfully but didn't say anything. This was typical Bruce Lee. He preferred to observe before engaging, to understand a situation completely before making his move. Ali climbed out of the ring and walked directly over to Lee, his hand extended in greeting. Lee shook it, and Ali immediately noticed something surprising. Lee's grip was incredibly strong for someone his size. It wasn't just firm, it was like gripping steel wrapped in skin. "I've been hearing a lot about you," Ali said, studying Lee with genuine curiosity. "They say you're the fastest man alive. They say you can do things nobody else can do." "People say many things," Lee replied quietly, his voice carrying a slight accent. "Most of it is exaggeration for movies." "Nah, I don't think so," Ali said, his instincts telling him otherwise. "I can see it in your eyes. You're a fighter, a real one." Lee remained humble. "You are Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer in the world. There is no comparison." Ali laughed, that infectious Ali laugh that could light up any room. "See, that's where you're wrong. I think there is a comparison. I think it would be very interesting to see what you've got." The gym went quiet. Everyone was watching now. Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee, two legends standing face to face, sizing each other up like prize-fighters before a bout. "I would not want to disrespect you," Lee said carefully. He understood the power of reputation, the importance of maintaining face, especially for someone like Ali whose confidence was legendary. "Disrespect?" Ali's eyes lit up. "Brother, I'm asking you to show me what you can do. Show me your fastest punch." Lee hesitated. He could sense where this was going, and every instinct told him it wasn't a good idea. "You want to see speed? Just observation." "Just observation," Ali confirmed, but there was something in his tone that suggested he had more in mind. "I promise I won't try to counter." Lee nodded slowly. "Very well, but perhaps we should use a target, a heavy bag or pads." "No target," Ali said. "Hit me." The gym went dead silent. Lee's eyes widened slightly. This was not what he had expected or wanted. "I cannot hit you, Mr. Ali," Lee said respectfully. "I'm asking you to," Ali interrupted, his voice carrying that unmistakable Ali authority. "Look, I've taken punches from Sonny Liston, from George Foreman, from Joe Frazier. These are men who hit harder than anyone alive. I want to see what this kung fu thing feels like. Right here." Ali pointed to his chest, just over his solar plexus. Lee shook his head. "You don't understand. My punch is designed for different targets, different purposes. It's not meant to be absorbed like a boxing punch." "Even better," Ali said, his grin widening. "Show me what makes it different. I can take it. I'm Muhammad Ali." People in the gym were exchanging nervous glances. This was either going to be amazing or terrible, and nobody was sure which. Lee looked at Ali for a long moment, studying the absolute confidence in the boxer's face. Ali's expression showed that unshakable certainty that he was invincible, that nothing could hurt him significantly. It was the same expression he wore facing down every opponent in the ring. Finally, Lee nodded reluctantly. "If you insist, but I will not use full power. Maybe 20%. "Whatever you want," Ali said, still grinning. "Just show me what you've got." Lee took a step back, creating about 4 feet of distance. He settled into a stance that looked nothing like a boxing stance. It was lower, more fluid, with his weight distributed differently. His hands hung loose at his sides, but there was a coiled energy about him, like a spring compressed and ready to release. "You're sure?" Lee asked one more time. "I'm sure," Ali confirmed. "Right here." He tapped his chest just over his solar plexus, the same spot where he'd absorbed thousands of punches from the hardest hitters in boxing. What happened next occurred so fast that several people later disagreed about the exact details, but everyone agreed on the outcome. Bruce Lee's hand moved. Nobody saw it move. One moment it was at his side, the next moment it was in contact with Ali's chest. There was no wind-up, no preparation, no telegraph, none of the tells that boxers learn to read. The movement was invisible, instantaneous. The sound was distinctive, not the thud of a boxing glove hitting flesh, but something sharper, more focused, almost like a whip crack. It was the sound of energy being transferred with perfect precision. Ali's eyes went wide. His mouth opened in shock. He took one step backward, then another, and then his knees buckled. He went down to one knee, his hand clutching his chest, and he couldn't breathe. Ali's mouth was opening and closing like a fish out of water, but no air was coming in or going out. His chest felt completely paralyzed. His face showed something that nobody in that gym had ever seen on Muhammad Ali's face before: panic. Real, genuine panic. His bodyguards immediately rushed forward, not sure what had happened but knowing their job was to protect Ali. Lee dropped to one knee beside Ali, his face showing genuine concern and regret. "Breathe slowly," Lee said calmly, his voice cutting through Ali's panic. "Small breaths. It will pass. You're okay." But Ali wasn't okay. He couldn't get any air. His chest felt like it was locked in place. His diaphragm had gone into complete spasm, and every attempt to breathe felt like hitting a wall. Lee placed one hand on Ali's back and another on his chest. "Listen to me carefully," he said, his voice steady and reassuring. "You are not dying. Your diaphragm is spasming. This will pass, but you need to focus. Try to take very small breaths through your nose." One of Ali's bodyguards was reaching for a phone to call an ambulance, but Lee held up a hand. "Wait. Give him a moment." Lee began pressing certain points on Ali's back with surgical precision, pressure points that could help reset the nervous system's response. His fingers found spots that seemed to unlock the paralysis. After about 30 seconds that felt like 30 minutes, Ali suddenly gasped, a huge, desperate intake of breath. Then another, then another. Color started returning to his face. His breathing was still labored and shaky, but it was working. Ali stayed on one knee for another full minute, just breathing, just processing what had happened. When he finally looked up at Lee, there was no more humor in his face, no more casual confidence. Just shock and dawning understanding. "What?" Ali tried to speak, his voice hoarse and strained. "What was that?" "That was maybe 20% of my power," Lee said quietly, his tone matter of fact but not boastful. "And I hit you in a relatively safe spot. If I had used full force, or if I had targeted a more vulnerable area, you would be unconscious right now. Possibly worse." Ali shook his head, still trying to process what he'd experienced. He'd been hit by the hardest punchers in boxing history, men whose fists were like sledgehammers. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had ever felt like what Bruce Lee had just done to him. "How?" Ali asked, the single word carrying all his confusion and amazement. Lee helped Ali to his feet. Ali was steady now, breathing normally, but still clearly shaken by the experience. "Boxing gloves distribute force," Lee explained patiently. "They spread the impact across a large surface area, but martial arts strikes focus all the energy into a very small point. It's not about how hard you hit, it's about where you hit and how you deliver the energy." Ali touched his chest where Lee had struck him. There wasn't even a mark, no sign of the devastating effect that punch had caused. "I didn't even see it coming," Ali admitted. "That was the point," Lee said. "You asked for speed. True speed isn't about moving fast, it's about moving without preparation, without telegraph. No wind-up, no warning. The movement itself is the technique. Ali's trainer finally spoke up from across the gym. "Champ, you okay? Should we get you checked out by a doctor?" Ali waved him off, but his voice was still shaky. "No, I'm fine, I think." He looked at Lee with new respect, the kind of respect that comes from having your worldview fundamentally altered. "Bruce, I owe you an apology. I don't know what I thought, but I was wrong." "You were not wrong to be skeptical," Lee said graciously. "Most of what people see in movies is exaggerated for entertainment, but the principles are real. They're just different from boxing." Ali sat down heavily on a nearby bench, still processing the experience. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "If we actually fought, really fought, no holds barred, who would win?" Lee smiled slightly, appreciating Ali's directness. "It depends on the context. In a boxing ring with boxing rules, you would destroy me. I'm not a boxer, and I couldn't match your skill in that environment." "And outside the ring?" Ali asked. Lee's expression became more serious. "Outside the ring, with no rules. That's a different conversation, but it's one we should never have in reality, because I respect you too much to want to hurt you." Ali absorbed this, then broke into a grin, not his usual cocky grin, but something more genuine. "Man, you are something else. They're not exaggerating about you, are they?" Over the next hour, Ali and Bruce Lee talked like two masters sharing knowledge. Lee explained the principles behind martial arts, the difference between sport fighting and survival fighting, the philosophy of using an opponent's force against them, the importance of economy of motion. Ali was fascinated. He asked Lee to demonstrate other techniques, but this time on pads and heavy bags. Lee showed him the famous one-inch punch, sending a heavy bag swinging with a movement that looked impossibly small. He demonstrated how to generate power from different angles, how to strike with different parts of the hand for different effects. And Ali, who had never been particularly humble about his own considerable skills, listened like a student. He asked questions, absorbed information, and began to understand that fighting was a much larger world than he had imagined. Before Lee left that day, Ali shook his hand again, this time with genuine reverence. "Bruce, you've changed my mind about some things today," Ali said. Lee shook his head. "Please don't speak about this publicly. I didn't come here to prove anything or embarrass anyone. But people should know," Ali insisted. "People should know what you can really do." "People will know when they see Enter the Dragon," Lee said. "But what happened here today should stay between us. I would prefer it that way." Ali thought about this, then nodded. "Out of respect for you, I'll keep it quiet." True to his word, Ali never publicly spoke about that day in detail while Lee was alive. But after Lee's tragic death just weeks later in July 1973, Ali occasionally told the story privately to close friends and training partners. He would describe the experience, the feeling of not being able to breathe, the realization that there were dimensions to fighting he had never fully understood, the humbling recognition that size and strength weren't everything. In 1975, a sports reporter asked Ali if he had ever met Bruce Lee. Ali's response was carefully measured but revealing. "I met Bruce Lee once. Incredible man, incredible fighter. People who say martial arts isn't real have never experienced it from someone who truly knows it." Bruce Lee knew it better than anyone. Years later, when Ali was asked what the hardest he'd ever been hit was, the journalist expected Ali to name one of his legendary boxing opponents, Foreman Frazier Liston. Instead, Ali surprised everyone. "The hardest I've ever been hit wasn't in a boxing match," Ali said. "It was in a gym in Hollywood by a man who weighed 140 pounds and used 20% of his power." The journalist pressed for details, but Ali just smiled. "Some things you have to experience to understand, and some experiences you're lucky you only have to live through once." The encounter between Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee became one of those legendary moments that people debate in martial arts and boxing circles. Some claim it never happened. Others insist every detail is true. But what's undeniable is that something changed in Ali after that trip to California. His approach to training evolved. He began incorporating some martial arts principles into his boxing preparation. He spoke with new respect about different fighting disciplines. Most importantly, he learned humility, not the humility of defeat, but the humility of recognizing that excellence comes in many forms, and that even the greatest champions have more to learn. Bruce Lee died tragically just weeks after this encounter, at the age of 32. Muhammad Ali went on to fight for many more years. But Ali never forgot that day in the Hollywood gym when a 140-pound martial artist taught him that there was more to fighting than boxing, more to power than size, and more to speed than just moving fast. And he learned that lesson in exactly the time it takes to say, 20%. 3 seconds that changed his understanding of what it means to be truly dangerous, truly skilled, and truly great.